Some people remember a childhood without the internet and an adulthood completely shaped by it. Born between 1976 and 1985, Xennials did not simply witness two different worlds. Their personalities were formed between them. They were too young to identify with Generation X, yet too old to share experiences as younger millennials. What makes them psychologically interesting is not only when they were born, but when they came of age. Growing up between two eras may have made them less dependent on generational labels and define themselves through personal experience. It may also explain why many feel slightly outside the arguments that divide older and younger adults. Today, Thalvin psychology explores how this in-between identity shaped attention, trust, privacy, relationships, and security. Subscribe to Thalvin Psychology for more psychological insight. Xennials grew up in an analog world without smartphones, social media, or endless entertainment available on demand. They memorized phone numbers, waited all week for a favorite show, and found ways to entertain themselves when nothing was planned. Boredom was not treated as an emergency that had to disappear immediately. Instead, it became part of life. That environment may have strengthened delayed gratification because they often had to wait before getting what they wanted. It may also have encouraged imagination, since children created games, stories, and activities without a stream of digital content. They also learned to tolerate discomfort, frustration, and uncertainty without reaching for a screen. This does not mean Xennials are better than younger generations. It simply means different environments trained attention, patience, and emotional habits in different ways. Their analog childhood gave their minds a distinct foundation before the digital world arrived. Xennials spent their childhood in an analog world, but entered adulthood just as the internet, mobile phones, and social media began reshaping daily life. This transition did not happen after their identities and careers were already settled. It arrived during their late teens and early 20s, when they were still deciding who they were and how they wanted to live. As technology changed, the rules of communication changed with it. Friendships moved online, relationships became easier to maintain across distance, and job searches increasingly depended on digital tools. Even self-expression changed, because people could now build a public identity through profiles, photos, and posts. Xennials were not simply learning how to use new devices. They were learning new expectations for work, connection, privacy, and visibility at the same time. Technology did not merely replace their tools. It rewrote the social rules while they were still learning who they were inside a rapidly changing modern society. Before mobile phones, plans required more trust, preparation, and commitment than today. People agreed on a time and place, then expected everyone to arrive. They could not constantly ask, "Where are you?" or send a message saying they were late. If someone failed to appear, the others often had to wait without knowing what happened. That uncertainty demanded patience and a tolerance for not having immediate answers. Because changing plans was difficult, promises often carried more weight. When problems appeared, people had to improvise, find a route, or solve the situation alone. These habits may have strengthened independence and confidence in handling unexpected events. But there was also a hidden cost. Learning to manage everything alone could make asking for help feel uncomfortable, unnecessary, or weak. For many Xennials, self-reliance became both a strength and an emotional habit that remained after technology made connection possible. Xennials remember life before the internet. Yet they also learned to use it while they were young. They moved from landline phones to mobile devices, from handwritten letters to email, and from Friendster and MySpace to Facebook. This gave them a kind of technological bilingualism. They can communicate comfortably face-to-face, but they also understand digital communication and online culture. They often help older coworkers adapt to unfamiliar tools while understanding why younger people see constant connectivity as normal. Because they experienced both worlds, they may appreciate technology without assuming every new platform is automatically better. They can learn software quickly, adjust to changing systems, and translate between generations. But constant adaptation can create change fatigue. Being skilled at learning new systems does not mean they enjoy watching every familiar system disappear. Xennials became good at change, yet that ability may exist alongside a quiet exhaustion from having to keep adapting again and again. Most of the Xennial childhood and teenage years passed without social media recording every awkward moment. Bad haircuts, first breakups, embarrassing parties, and youthful mistakes often survived only in memory. They did not remain searchable years later through photos, posts, or videos. This gave people more freedom to outgrow older versions of themselves. They could change personalities, leave a social group, move beyond a mistake, and reinterpret the past with greater maturity. In the digital world, however, old versions of a person can return without warning. A forgotten photo or post may revive a moment that no longer represents who they are. There is a difference between remembering the past and being repeatedly confronted by it. Human memory naturally changes, softens, and reorganizes experiences over time. Digital records can freeze an event permanently, even when they fail to capture the emotions, context, or personal growth surrounding it in real life. Many Xennials entered the workforce or built careers during the 2008 financial crisis. At an age when they expected stable jobs, home ownership, growing families, and financial progress, they instead faced layoffs, shrinking opportunities, and economic uncertainty. For some Xennials, that instability may have created a lasting sensitivity to risk. They may keep larger emergency funds, hesitate to leave unsatisfying jobs, or feel guilty when spending money on themselves. Some became skeptical of the promise that hard work would always lead to security. Others learned to choose safety over opportunity because they had already seen how quickly stability could disappear. Even after their finances improved, the fear that everything might collapse again could remain quietly active in their decisions. Technology had shown them how rapidly life could improve, while the economy showed them how rapidly progress could reverse. That combination may help explain why many Xennials became adaptable, cautious, and deeply aware that security can never be taken for granted. Xennial personalities were shaped by contradictions that rarely felt unusual to them. They can be independent like Generation X while valuing the cooperation associated with millennials. They may question new technology, yet use it confidently and efficiently. They value privacy but still participate in social media. They remember the analog world with affection, yet do not want to surrender modern convenience. This ability to hold opposing truths may reflect psychological flexibility. They understand that technology can connect people while also weakening attention. They know independence can build strength while sometimes creating isolation. They recognize that the past contained meaningful experiences but was not automatically better. They also see that convenience can improve life while reducing patience. Xennials are not defined by choosing one world over the other. They are defined by understanding both and moving between them without needing either side to erase the other. Xennials understand what the digital world has given them and what it has quietly taken away. Technology created instant connection, unlimited information, new career opportunities, constant entertainment, and easier access to knowledge. At the same time, it reduced solitude, patience, deep focus, and the feeling of being completely unreachable. Because they remember both realities, many Xennials understand the value of intentional disconnection. Turning off notifications or stepping away from a screen does not mean rejecting technology. It means choosing when technology deserves attention and when silence matters more. They may recognize when a face-to-face conversation is more meaningful than another message. They may also protect moments that do not need to be documented or shared. The question is not whether the past was better. The real question is how to keep modern advantages without surrendering every quiet part of life. Xennials may never feel fully part of one generation, yet living between two eras may be central to their story. They experienced one world, watched it disappear, and learned to adapt to another. Their strength may be identity continuity, the ability to change without losing the values that shaped them. Adaptation is not only learning new technology, it is gaining skills without treating the past as meaningless. It is accepting convenience while protecting privacy, patience, and presence. The real Xennial advantage may be learning to enter a new world without abandoning the person they were in the old one. Which shaped you more, analog freedom or digital adaptability? Share your experience below. Subscribe to Thalvin Psychology for more insights into how experiences shape human behavior.